Right. So what I will do now, and I need your full attention, and I will, if you have any problem following me, just interrupt. Just say, Ben, I'm not following, okay? Doesn't matter if it's just what I said or whatever, but listen carefully because it's very important. So we're going to do what we call pseudo-code. Pseudo-code is something between plain English and Arduino programming. And it's to help you understand how your program is going to look like and how you're going to write your program. We know from the start, we know that we have comments, yeah, where you put details about things, for example, the date, for example, the author, the version of your program, etc. And it's something for the users to read, not the computer. So it's ignored by the compiler, to speak technically. What we're going to do, we're not going to change the comment at this stage, so we ignore the comments. Next, we have the variables. Yeah? And what do we have in the variables in our code? We can see we have variables that are constant, they don't change. There's echo pin, which is defined as 7. There's trig pin, which is defined as 8. And there's LED pin, which is defined as 13. Okay? We said we're going to change that because we're going to have 2 LEDs, and we said they're going to be connected to pin 9 and 10. So, we need to change in the variable LED 1, which we call an LED 2, because we have 2 LEDs. And we connect them to a pin, each one to a different pin. So we give that pin a name, an identifier. So we have LED 1 pin, and we define it as 9. And we have LED 2 pin, and we define it as 10. Yeah? So that means that we'll go into our variables. And we're also going to use something which is called the mid-range. So in the code here, we have the maximum range, which is equal to 100. We have the minimum range, which is equals 0. And underneath that, we're going to add something else, which is the mid-range. And here's one of them. So the mid-range. And the mid-range, we're going to define it as mid-range is equal maximum range minus minimum range divided by 2. Oh, I don't need to put a semicolon because it's pseudocode. That's how we define our mid-range. Yeah? So, we've added in our variables the LED 1 pin, the LED 2 pin, and the mid-range. Yeah? And because we want to keep everything neat, we change LED pin 13 to LED 1 pin, and it's 9. And we have defined LED 2 pin, and it's 10. And here we have int, which means integer maximum range equal to 100, integer minimum range equals 0, and then we have another line, integer mid-range equal, open bracket, maximum range minus minimum range, close bracket, divided by 2. Yeah? Now we finished with the variables. Then we have also functions. Do we have any functions here? No. So, we ignore that. Then we have the setup. And in the setup, at the moment, we have serial begin 9600. It's to start the communication with the serial monitor. We keep that. We have pin mode trig pin is an output. We keep that. It's for the ultrasound sensor. Pin mode echo pin is an input. We keep that. It's for the ultrasound sensor. And we have pin mode LED pin is an output. That's something we change. So what we do, we need to have LED 1 is an output, and LED 2 is also an output. And that's changed by rewriting the code, which says pin. I just said, please listen, it's important. Because of all the people, you too who keep saying you don't know how to do pulls, don't talk, listen. Yeah, but if you need to follow me very carefully, because very quickly you lose track of it. LED1 pin output and pin mode, LED2 pin output. So what we've done here, we've made sure that both pins to which the LED1 and LED2 is connected, both are outputs, which is what we want, okay? So that's what we changed in the setup. And now we finished with the setup. Yeah? Now we go into the code. Thank God I left a little bit here. We said we have three conditions. First one, if it's out of range. Second one, if it's more or equal to mid-range. And third one, if it's less. When you don't know how to write that, because we have if, else, if, etc., you go to the Arduino tutorial. Let me show you. Please listen. I know you want to speed up, but listen because it's important. So we go to the learning, we go to the reference, and in the reference, you take the one that says if, else. And here it explains, this is the part that explains how it's done. So, first one, we know that what we're going to have is something like this. In pseudocode, we're going to have if out of range, we're going to have LED1 off, and LED2 off. Okay? So if this, else, distance, so if distance is out of range, if, else, if distance is more or less mid-range, we said LED1 is on and LED2 is on. That's what we put here. Yeah? And else if distance is less than mid-range, we have LED1 is on and LED2 is off. Okay? And we can add a last condition where we say else. That means if it's none of all these, we can just serial print. We put unknown condition, which it means if it's neither out of range and it's not in range, where can it be? Nowhere. But just for safety, we can say we have an unknown condition, so that we like, oh, there might be a problem. So we have if, else if, and else. And we know how to write that because we have it in the online tutorial. Yeah? If, else, if, and else. So we have if, else, if, and else. Now, that's the pseudocode. How do we write that in the code of the program? Well, we apply, and we keep applying, the golden rule of being lazy. So, we go to the loop. We have the first part, which is to do up to line 43, which is to do with the ultrasound sensor. We don't want to change that because we're still using the ultrasound sensor, yeah? Next, we have the part that matters. So the first is if distance is more than maximum or distance is less than minimum, which is the first one. Distance is out of range. And then we have serial print -1. We don't want that. We want to change that to serial print, and we want it to display the distance again. So we change serial print -1 to serial print distance so that it keeps telling us the distance. So each time we look at the serial monitor, we keep getting the distance coming out. So for this condition, which is already in the file, in the program, we just add these two lines, which means we look at the line that's to do with the LED, and it's the last one, which says digital white LED pin high, which is line 49, and we changed here, and we write digital right, and then LED 1 pin, and we have low because we want it off, and we write the same thing again, and this time it's for LED 2 pin, and it's low because again we want it off. So here we finished the first condition. Next condition, we have to write else if, and here we put distance is more or equal mid-range, and then you open the bracket, and again we have serial print, and we put distance so we can see the distance on the monitor, and then we have digital write LED 1 pin, and we said we have it on, so it's high, and again digital write LED 2 pin, and again it's high because that's what we want. So we've done the first condition, we've done the second condition, and now we need to do the third condition, which I'm going to do here. What's wrong with my markers? They keep drying up. Maybe I need to get a new set. So the last one, we have else, if, and we have distance, and we have is less than mid-range, and then you open the bracket, and we have serial print, and then distance, so we display the distance. Then we have again digital write LED 1 pin, and then is it high or low this time?
High?
Yeah, here. High. And the next time, and next one, the next pin, next LED, sorry, I'm getting tired. LED 2 pin, and then this time, is it high or low? Low. And that's it. We've done the code for the third condition. And then we add else, I mean, if it's none of all this, and we just serial print, and we put condition, and now our problem. Yeah? And that's it. And the biggest difficulty is not in this, because you can look on the example and you can look on the online tutorials to get the right syntax, to have the right expressions, the right structure. The biggest problem is to write the pseudocode out of what you want to achieve. And